So the point of while we're taking you through the different time periods is for you to realize that this family will know Joseph Smith in a way that, say, only his own family would know him. They would know him as a young man. Of course, during that time he was courting Emma, and that was a time of work. And of course, he was a typical young man of that age. And in this room, we like to talk about the year 1830 and how significant this time period, that year, was for this little humble branch here. Because in 1830, first of all, as it relates to this place, the Book of Mormon was published in March of that year, and this family was looking forward to that, obviously, because on April 6th, when the church was organized, 1/3 of all of the people in the Peter Whitmer farm home on that special day were from this area and from this family and their in-laws. They had traveled the 90 miles to be up there for that special day. And so shortly after that, on the 2nd, I think, of June, is when they had the first conference of the church. And that is when Newell Knight accepts the invitation to go forward and be baptized. And so that begins the membership of these people in the restored church. Throughout that time then, of course, Newell has his experience, along with those that were baptized, of seeing the heavens opened and the majesty on high, and he'll record that in his journal. It's a significant thing. They'll come back from that meeting. Father Knight says, I should have gone forward and been baptized. I would have felt better if I had, but I hadn't read the book yet. So they wait a few days up there while a few copies of the Book of Mormon are finished being bound, and they bring one of those, or some of those copies, down here for the other people in this area to read. And shortly thereafter, Joseph Smith receives a letter from Father Knight requesting them to come down because there are believers here. And that's when the first baptisms are performed out here in the stream that we've seen before. And of course, the mobs are part of that disruption. Important things happened to us after after that time. One of those, of course, was the trials. There would be 4 trials that Joseph would have, or hearings, in this area. The 3rd trial would start the next day after the baptisms, and that would be in South Bainbridge, which is now Afton, and then the 4th would be out at Cole's Tavern. A very trying time for Joseph. So once he leaves here, he doesn't want to come back, but the Lord has different plans for him. He commands him to come back and confirm the saints in Colesville. So that's the miracle of the covering the eyes of these enemies that occurs then. And of course, out front we talked about a little bit about the first miracle. So significant things happened. I think the main thing we'd like to do is to point out that now the role of Joseph has changed from being a young husband to now their spiritual leader. And in December, he will receive the revelation for the saints together to the Ohio. And so he'll bring that word down with Sidney Rigdon and the Whitmers. We believe that that's who makes up that party. At least Sidney Rigdon is with him when he gives those commandments to these humble people, and they will then pack up and leave. The Knights, Mother and Father Knight, will leave in one of the coldest times of that year. And they will go up to Waterloo, where they'll meet with Joseph and Emma, and then from there they'll continue on to Kirtland. The rest of the saints will leave here. Those that are going, about 67 of them, will follow that commandment and leave by the end of April. And during that time, That's when Joseph Smith asks his brother Hiram to join with him on the other missions, and he'll ask Newell Knight to be the branch president. So by that time, they follow the prophet, and they follow with exactness. And they will move actually 6 times, as I count them, as a branch, with the same branch president, with the same keys. And that will be a significant thing, because along the way they'll be asked to live the law of consecration. So that represents a faithful time.